So, firstly, Turnitin is a similarity checker. If you open up your assignment, you will see on the right hand side of the page there's a little number. You will see that. If you click on the number, it opens up this blocks next to it. And there it can tell me, according to color coded, you'll see on the right hand side, where it finds similar work that was submitted elsewhere. So quite often it will pick up the text that you use from a textbook. It will definitely pick up if you copy and paste text from another student. It will pick up if two students submit similar text, one from Potch and one from Mafeking. And in fact, then I can go look in there and I can see what the other text was, what it said, and I can see who submitted it. So in future, keep that in mind, that you do not even think of trying to use somebody else's work. So for most of you, the actual problem was most probably not that you intended to commit plagiarism. In fact, it would seem that it was inattentiveness. I could probably categorize it as gross negligence, and I will tell you about that in a minute. But first, let's take a look at this. So you will see if you look at any Turnitin report, you will see highlighted pieces all over the place. And for example, this is what you do want to see. It should highlight things like this in your footnotes. It means that you have correctly cited in a similar fashion to other people who have also done their work. It should highlight things which you quoted properly, etc., etc. There is nothing wrong with the text being highlighted. It has to be interpreted by yourself or by a lecturer or another person to see whether there are any problematical areas. Take a look at this, for example. This tells me, in all probability, that this whole piece, from there right down to here, is probably closely related to a paragraph from the source. And if I accept that this person substituted a few words here and there to try and rewrite the piece, well, this was very poorly done, because in essence this wasn't rewritten, it was just trying to influence the detection of anti-plagiarism, but at least some effort was made. This is not good. Okay. The way in which to deal with this is rather not try and rewrite text. What you should do is you should read the text, a large piece of the text. Make sure you understand it. And then, in a similar fashion that you would do when you are making summaries, you should summarize the argument of the source, and in a little summary, provide the issue or describe the issue in your own words. Okay. Take a look at this. This is even worse. Once again, we can see at the top some effort was made to rephrase the text. In fact, that is not too bad. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with this. Here you can see the person took a sentence from the source, exactly, word for word. It is exactly like that from the source. Okay. Luckily for this person did indeed cite. I have not included the actual citation here, but the person did cite. It is not enough to cite. The citation should just be there so that when I read the text, I can go and look at the citation and see where you got your idea or your facts, etc. If you are going to be using the words spoken, written, whatever, from another person, and this includes textbook writers, article writers, it includes legislation, and it includes court cases, you need to put this into quotation marks. Right, the reader needs to be able to know that this is not your own words. This is word for word the words of another person. It is excruciatingly important. And this is the reason why many of you got a 0 for your assignment, because this is technical plagiarism. If you do this in your final year dissertation, you will get taken to the student disciplinary committee, and you will probably, in all probability, be found guilty of plagiarism. And between you and me, if you have that problem on your university record, that is it. You will not get admitted as an attorney or an advocate. That is the end of the road for you. Do not do this. Be very careful. Right, now let's take a look at this. This is a lot better, isn't it? I think you will agree with me. You can see that this was all from the same source. It was totally put into different words. It was moved around and the person made this their own. This is how something looks which is properly cited. Here is a different way. If you are going to be citing a bigger piece of text, you do it in terms of the style requirements in a block quote. This means it's indented on this side. It's away from the rest of the text. And this side as well, it's indented. It's also in a smaller font than the rest. This tells the reader that this is not your own words. This is an exact quotation from a different area. And here, for another alternative, you can see that this person even went further and used quotation marks over here and over here. Although according to the Northwich University Faculty of Law style requirements, if you use an indented quote, you don't need to put quotation marks there. Of course, if you use part of a quotation in the sentence, you do need to have quotation marks. Okay, so let's summarize. If you use any text exactly the same, word for word from a different source, from anywhere else, you have to do two things. One, you have to cite it in terms of provide where you got it. With this, I mean you have to provide a pin cite. It means I have to be able to know on which page of the book you found your information, or in which paragraph of the specific court case you found your information. Then, secondly, if it is a word for word usage, even if it is 6 words in a row, if it's word for word, you should put it into quotation marks. Take a look at this example. Okay, the person decided here to use a part of a sentence, in other words, apart from the court case itself. They wove it into the actual piece of writing, their own writing, and then they said, I now read this and I see from here to here, this is an exact quotation from the court case. That is what proper citation looks like, and you should do that yourself.